Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right. Ready to go? All right. So, welcome to the Experts Unplugged new Exchange News Scenario. So, we have lots of experts up here on the panel. I'm Brian Shires, Product Marketing Manager on the Exchange team. We'll host a crew here today. This new scenarios, I'll think of this as a chance to get questions on a lot of the new feature areas that we've talked about at Ignite this week. So that kind of boils down to groups, document collaboration, search. We can go, and Kumar will get mad at me if I don't say clutter as well, probably, if you ask him to be here. So we want to spend time fielding your questions on those. We'll try to make sure we get coverage and all those things, but it really is just, if you've been to these panels through this week, all about you guys asking us questions. So I'll let everybody give a quick intro of themselves.
Good morning. I'm Kip Fern. I'm a lead program manager on the modern attachment Cloudy Doc work.
Kumar Venkateswar. I'm a program manager on the Clutter team.
I'm Robin Thomas. I'm a lead program manager on the search team.
Kareem Matish, group program manager on the Exchange Mailbox Intelligence team.
Hi, I'm Paul Lamont. I'm the group program manager for the modern attachment work, as well as a bunch of Outlook web app related pieces.
Hi, I'm Amit Gupta, group program manager for Office 365 groups.
All right. Is everybody come in with a list of questions already, or nobody want to go first? All right. Let's hand this off.
My question is about search. I'm wondering if in the Exchange Admin Center there's a plan to make mail trace more robust beyond just searching for sender, recipient, and date, maybe including other header information like message ID, subject line, things like that. I mean, I know you can do that all in PowerShell, but for some lower level admins on the help desk, it's easier to do it in the GUI.
Is anybody up here that wants to talk about this?
You're the search guy. If you want, I can talk about it. I'm happy to talk about it.
You're talking about e-discovery, correct?
No, he's talking about...
No, I'm just talking about this mail didn't show up.
No, it's a fair question. It's one of those places where the tech we use for message tracking is 100% completely different than the tech that users have for searching their own mailboxes. And so let's call it the power and flexibility we have in that indexing core, the thing that we took from Fast and built into Exchange in 2013, doesn't exist for message tracking. So I don't know of any plans to extend that today, but it's a fair question, fair concern. What kind of headers, what kind of things are you looking for?
Well, we're used to
random X headers, or
we're used to using the Ironport search for mail flow. So
random X headers.
It's really almost everything that you can find in a header.
Got it. You just basically want a full text
ID.
search through the content, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
I see.
I mean, maybe not body. Maybe that might be asking too much, but at least subject line.
As soon as you're going for attachment names, it might as well be body too. Yeah. But yeah, okay. That's a fair concern. We don't have any plans to do it that I know of, but that's a question we'll bring back.
Thank you. On Office 365, when I want to delete someone from the deleted items container, like in kind of a forced delete, I have to provide the global admin role. Are there any plans to have more RBAC roles in the cloud so that I can designate certain admins just to do forced deletions from the deleted containers?
I honestly wasn't expecting to answer any questions this morning. There are no plans to add any more RBAC roles today. If we talk afterwards, I'd love to understand the scenario. As you know, there's lots of granularity around these things that we can continue to add. That's not one that I had specifically heard, but it's again another fair request or concern. But I don't think we have anything planned yet for that.
Right. Yes. Oh. Okay.
I have a question about e-discovery. The one thing that is causing problem for many of our customers, because I work with several customers, when we do the in-discovery and in-place hold, that's configured in one single wizard. and as a result, at multiple times, customers do not understand and end up putting the mailbox on multiple holds. Why didn't we segregate those two wizards separately? Why did we put in place hold and in e-discovery in one single wizard? That's confusing, and that's causing problem of putting multiple mailbox on multiple holds.
You want to take this one too?
I've worked on Exchange for a really long time. I have no idea why we did that. I was not involved in any of the decision-making processes. That said, I have a mailbox where there were multiple holds placed on it. And, we talk about large mailboxes. So my mailbox hit about 450 gigs before somebody noticed that there was a problem. And so I feel the pain. I'll answer you. Fair concern. I have no idea. But yeah, there's nobody, unfortunately, here in this panel, but there's folks from the Discovery team here at the conference.
I think we can.
And I will pinch them until they answer the question. I'll give you their email addresses afterwards.
So we have questions, Doc Lab, Clutter, Search? Anyone? Anyone over here?
Hi, message tracking.
You're teasing me, right? Like,
No.
you're totally teasing me.
So I was trying the Exchange Online Protection. It let one mail through and blocked another that were almost identical. So I was trying to get the headers. And the one that went through, I didn't give me any header information, any extra information, just said delivered. And the one that failed gave me more information. Can we get the same level of information from the ones that go through as well?
I don't know. Brian, at this point, you're texting the EOP folks to come by, right? You're calling them? Sorry, I don't think there's anyone here who can answer that question. We can find out afterwards.
About search? Yeah, I have a question about searching. So we use a third-party product for email hygiene, but then it eventually ends up coming into Exchange. And I've noticed that the third-party product, when you search to and from, it uses the envelope to an envelope from. I don't believe that Exchange does that. I think it might use envelope for the to or the from, but then the other one, it uses the actual header. Is there a way to actually search the envelope to and from?
No, not to my knowledge.
Thanks.
I have a mic here.
Yeah, ultimately, once that message is delivered, the P1 envelope on messages isn't stored anymore. So that envelope, as you imagine it, as it goes through a transport-type product that's receiving mail through SMTP with a receipt to or mail from receipt to, that data just isn't there anymore to search from.
I have a question about a mailbox type.
Oh, yeah, there you are.
Yeah. So we currently use e-discovery because we have a requirement to keep emails for 3 years after people leave the organization. And so we disable user accounts, but the mailboxes are still set as just regular mailbox. And that causes problems because people continue to receive emails after they leave. And so we created just workaround by creating a transport rule and using custom attribute. But I'm just wondering if you can create different mailbox type to distinguish from regular mailbox.
And what would these mailbox types do?
So these people are, they left the organization, but we have to keep that mailbox in Exchange for 3 years for e-discovery purpose.
In O365 or no?
No, this is on-prem 2013 right now. Yeah, no, but we do put in place hold, but they're just regular mailbox. But I'm just wondering if you can create different type of mailbox.
And you just want mail to not route to those mailboxes.
Yeah.
And you don't want to remove the email addresses associated with them to make that fail.
So they're not regular mailbox. like you have type of mailbox like room or equipment or something like that, but different category to distinguish that as user who's left.
And the sole purpose of this is just so that mail does not route to that mailbox.
Exactly.
And removing the email addresses is not an option for you.
Well, can you remove a email address?
You can
from a
certainly
mailbox?
change anything to any email address to any value you like, so that people who expect the address to be there or not to be there. I mean, it's a dirty hack,
Yeah.
but it still will meet your intent.
Well, right now, with our workaround is we create a transport rule, and we use a custom attribute to reject the emails.
It's
But
more complicated than my hack.
okay. So I thought.
I'm sure there's an elegant way to do that, but I don't know of it. That's right. The account stays there. Mail fails to route. Of course. It's not actually deleted, right, in that case. Oh, yeah. Like I said, I'm sure there's an elegant way to do it. I don't know what the elegant way to do it yourself on premise.
Yeah, well, I guess the elegant way would have been if you create a different type of mailbox. I guess that's what I'm asking. Like how you have a room or equipment or those kind.
Yeah,
of
no, I understand the suggestion.
Yeah.
I got it.
So okay.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions on Outlook Web Access? The new attachment support that you saw? You do.
No.
Oh. What do you have?
Well, I could probably come up with one, but no.
Well, let's the gentleman ask, and you can go next.
Okay, shared mailboxes. When you change the setting in Exchange to save the sent item configuration so that it saves in the shared mailbox, not in the client mailbox, it duplicates.
Are you asking about the Outlook problem related to that, or the Outlook Web Access problem related to that? Which of the
Both.
two? Okay.
It happens in all of them, so. Are there plans to fix that in the future?
So,
Wait, Ladislav, introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Ladislav. I'm engineer manager for the public folders and share mailbox. When you're asking about this duplicates, is this something that happened recently this year?
No, it's been happening all along. The Exchange command that allows save sent item configuration or send, I forget exactly the
Ladislav, it's something that used to work.
This is
We cut the feature, and then then we added it back, and we broke it.
Yes.
Yes.
That's the one.
Right? That one. Yeah.
So you're going to have to make a choice there. Either you use the registry key for Outlook to save the message on the sent items or the share mailbox, or you enable the feature in Exchange to do that for you.
Well, if you enable the registry key, the problem is if you do that by group policy, then you have the problem where other people that are delegates for somebody like an AA for their primary needs access to that person's sent items in order to save it to their sent items.
Yes.
But if all they're doing is calendaring, they shouldn't need that sent item access.
Right. But your problem is...
But if I change it then on the server, it duplicates the messages.
Well, then you go and delete the registry key so you don't have the duplicate.
Right, it is deleted. We don't do the group policy. It still duplicates.
It's still
So
duplicate.
yeah, and the server setting causes dupes.
Right.
We have to look into that then.
There are folks, the folks who went and added that server setting have been I know about the issue. I'm not working on that area at all, but I have heard about that issue. And there are people actively working on it, but I don't think there is a resolution coming in the near term. I don't know if they've actually got it fixed yet. But we know about it.
Okay, then one more quick question. Who's your calendaring guy?
JJ Cadiz is here. If you find him on the floor, he's definitely your guy. But
Well-
what was your question?
Okay. In Exchange, when we set up the amenities for calendars. It's nice that they're there, but there's no way to search for specific amenities. Or room size, for that matter. I mean, you have these in there. If you can't search for them.
And this is in the context of the room finder.
Yeah, the room finder mostly.
No, I will take that feedback back to the calendaring team. I think it makes total sense. Right now, it's raw availability, but adding some kind of next level semantics makes sense.
And that's not it.
We could go on for hours, but I'll give it to someone.
Yeah, no, we added some search for support for calendaring in 2016. However, it's minimalistic. It's based on the names of the resources and things like that. So you can do a search, but it's only an OA.
And that's more geared towards event search. Like I'm searching my calendar versus I'm looking for an available room in the schedule.
There's discovery inside your mailbox, inside your calendar. Then there's discovery of these other resources. But again, it's
pretty basic.
Sure. Yeah. No. That's.
That'd be a really easy thing.
You would think.
I think the team will like that suggestion. It does feel like a bit of a layup. So.
Okay. There was a guy over here who had a question.
Yes. So about the retention policies, again, I think this is more cosmetic than anything else, and it is causing confusion, especially at the CIOs and CFOs and compliance managers side, because they're not computer savvy. And as far as I understand, retention policy has nothing to do with retention. It's actually a deletion policy. So the naming here makes it a little bit confusing here, because by saying retention policy, we are not saying that this email would be retained for that period. We say this message would be deleted after that specific time that you specify.
Or moved.
Naming here is messed up in my viewpoint. I just want to give you the feedback here.
Do you have a synonym you would like us to use?
No, that's your area. I'm not going to suggest that.
I write code, my grammar, my English. English is my second language. So.
Me too.
But thank you.
Okay, I have a question related to the groups and to search. We have a lot of customers using SharePoint as team sites and project sites, and right now many of them are storing emails in the libraries. And, yeah, and when they see groups, they would like to use the groups for that scenario. So are there any plans to support the scenario that you can like drag and drop an email to a group? And if you have several thousand groups, that you can do a cross-group search for emails, and will they surface in Delve?
Oh, thank God. We got some good answers here now to talk. Yes, the short answer is yes. We are working on the scenario for cross-group search. Today, you can go inside any group and search through the content. The experience for groups are live in Outlook Web Access and the Web Suite, so you should be able to do search through those content. We have, as we are bringing groups inside Outlook experience, where people are more familiar with the drag and drop behavior, just like you would do with folders. The scenario, if I can drag an email to a group, is something on our list that we are considering. We talked about that a little more detail in the session on Tuesday. And then the cross-group scenario, which is when I go and search for content, I want to search across my inbox as well as all my groups that I see. That's also coming in our plans.
But how about searching all the groups? Not when I'm in a company, there could be thousands of groups, right?
Yeah. So the approach that we are taking over there is when you look at that, if from an end user perspective, we are focusing on relevance when we talk about search, not the corpus of everything, but what's relevant to us. And you'll see that surface through the Delve experiences to go, hey, I want to search everything. But it's not just the content in the mailbox, but it could be something on my files or meetings or calendar. So Delve becomes that cross heterogeneous experiences search experience, and it's based on relevance. So we are focusing on the relevance where we think through the power of graph, we understand what may be relevant because either you have touched or some of your colleagues have touched. The scenario as such of like going after the 400,000 groups I have in the company, I want to search all of them all the time, is something that we'll watch and see how relevant that is in the scenarios for the end user. Now there is e-discovery tools when you go run on those things, which is a different case. And for those pieces, we will enable the scenarios that you can discover any content anywhere.
So I think that's the right pivot to make, that when you think about searching within your mailbox, you're often thinking about what we call recall. How do I get to 100% of my results? And how do and it really is about, if I have 1,000 hits, can I get to those 1,000? When you move beyond that, when you're searching a vague set of corpus, how do we actually decide how to show those results to the users? And how do we actually go off and figure out what does the user really want to see? Oftentimes it's not, I want to methodically walk through every single result from 10,000 groups. It's I'm looking for a keyword, I'm looking for a topic, I'm looking for a person. So how do we actually use relevance to narrow down that scope and bring them back the set of results that we think have the actual content that they're looking for, rather than an exhaustive search over every possible source?
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I'm not sure I agree or... I think our customers would like to be able to find that email they received in some group last year.
Absolutely. So that's the key. That's the goal that we want to go after. So having this concept of success and figuring out did the user get what they were looking for is core to the promise that we're making. The question is, do we have to go search every single group exhaustively and give them all of those results back, or can we use statistics and big data to help whittle that down so that they still find that one item they're looking for? We just didn't have to go look at every single group to find it.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, no, there's no e-discovery folks here who can tell you how that's changing, but I think that's, as far as I understand, that limitation is going away. It's eventual. I don't know when, but we're going to scale past that for sure.
Sure. So the technology we're investing in to do a search across groups is a different set of technology we use for e-discovery.
Right. And a shirt for this gentleman for asking a
Correct.
topical question there. The panel's actually armed to answer. Who's next?
I have two questions, two quick questions. Why, when I set my calendar to out of office, can it not automatically turn on my out of office assistant? Or am I missing something?
Are you saying that when you mark an appointment being out of office, does it not turn on your out of office assistant?
Yes.
I could make up some reasons at the moment. It's an interesting suggestion. It's a difficult leap to make. I think whether you want to be sending automatic responses to people sending you email, whether we can infer that based on you being out of office for a brief period of time, a day, multiple days, I think we're reluctant to make that leap in terms of that assumption.
All right. My other question was...
it could be optional prompted workflows. The interesting ideas. I'll jot down the things for the calendar team and kind of have follow-up conversation. It's not anything that's on the roadmap for them. So interesting discussion though.
My other question was searching. We have developers that like to use mail relay for their debugging. So they put a lot of debug code in their mailboxes, and they try to search that information. And I've gone through the pain of rebuilding the index on the server. It all looks good, everything's there, but they search for certain syntax and they cannot find it through OWA or Outlook. As soon as they put it into cache mode on Outlook, it begins to work.
Sorry, where are you? Oh. What was your last point about as soon as you put it in Outlook, it works?
In cache mode.
And what version of Exchange are you looking at?
2013.
And is the data stored as attachments in the body of the message and headers? Where's that debug data?
It's in the body.
What kind of data is it?
Oh, it's dump data, just crazy syntax. Those
Yeah, I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't find it.
Follow up with Robin afterwards.
Come find me offline.
Okay. Or you could just give everyone your email address right now.
It's Kareem Batish at Microsoft.com.
Yeah,
just actually, Kareem at Microsoft.com. That'll get to me. Yeah, our normal line is actually usually the inverse, that you can find things on the server that you can't find in the desktop search. And so this is a kind of an inversion of that. So that's why Robin's surprised.
I'm actually interested to see what the outcome is.
Unlike normally.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. I have a groups question. Calendaring, particularly in groups. Currently, if someone adds an event into a calendar and group, everyone gets an invite. Is that intended? And is that going to be the behavior that we should expect going forward?
So today, if you set up an invite on the calendar, the group get notified that there is an activity that a calendar invite has been put on the calendar, the group calendar. Now, if the members of the group have subscribed, and the way subscribed works is it says, hey, I want all of these things that are happening in the group to be informed to me directly in my inbox and in my calendars. So if you have that turned on, everybody's going to get notified because that's what they've chosen to do, saying, hey, I will go to the group when I need to go to, but just copy everything into my inbox. And the behavior there goes for conversations, calendar, and any activity we're going to put. So if you're seeing this thing, even when somebody's not subscribed, then it's something we have to look at. But the intent over there in the non-subscribed case is the activity is just put as one line item over there that somebody did something. And then you can choose to add those things into your calendar, which is how you expect the group calendar to work, saying, hey, don't pollute everything into my calendar, but let me choose an add.
Got a question about au revoir and log off. What happened?
Do you mind providing a little more detail?
Well, log off in au revoir in 2007 was working perfectly. And right now in 2013, you have to close a browser to log off.
If you don't mind, I'll stick around afterward. I'd like to chat with you to see what's going. Is there anything in terms of let's see? Yeah, how are you publishing OA? Is this like a web publishing style scenario?
Yep.
Okay, let's chat afterward. I'd like to understand. I've seen this happen in situations like that, and we've fixed the issues we've seen thus far. So I'm curious if it's related to the particular product. We have an interop issue, so it'd be good to chat. Thanks. I'll stick around right here.
Question about clutter? Hi.
Awesome.
Yeah, you haven't spoken yet. It's a great feature. I used to have a third-party product that did something very similar, and I've cancelled that product now thanks to clutter. But is there any plans to? What's the roadmap for it? Are you going to make it more granular, perhaps with more different folders for different things, such as receipts or bulk mail or newsletters or whatever? What's the development roadmap like for clutter? Where do you see it going?
So I think for clutter specifically, we don't have plans to sort things out that way, but in general, we have an understanding that there is a need to sort email out, the bulk email out, into various categories. So there is some thought about categorization. I can't give you a specific roadmap. Shorter term, what we're thinking about more is how to take the advantages that Outlook for iOS and Android has in terms of the way it categorizes focused inbox and other, as well as the way clutter works to make it more uniform. And I think that'll help partially with the problems that you're talking about.
And you're saying that specifically because the focused and other does do some extra things with bulk mail that, for example, clutter does not.
Correct. So Outlook for iOS, the way they thought about the feature was more consumer focused, and the way the clutter team has thought about the feature is a little more enterprise focused, where you have less bulk mail. We're definitely moving towards a point where we will do better on both together and have a good story on both.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Thank you.
I have a question about OA. I've been trying to get my people to use OA more to get the browser experience in Office 365.
Thank you.
And one of the feedbacks I got was I missed my quick steps. Is there a plan to add quick steps to OA?
That is not currently on our kind of list of near-term candidates. I've heard that before, and it's definitely something that people use that are very passionate about it. So it's something we should think about, but not in the near term. But I think it certainly merits being on there longer term.
Thank you.
Yep.
Question here.
What is your favorite quick step, if you don't mind sharing, by the way? Gotcha.
They're not for me.
Okay.
All right, question here. Admin Center. That's probably for Kareem.
No, not again. Come on, man.
I'm trying my best.
Please, no, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so get this scenario. You have Exchange server 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're using 2 servers. The certificates hasn't been updated on those. It's popping up in the admin center saying, you need to update those certificates. They expired. And it's keep on popping up. So we have notifications sitting in notification mailbox, system mailbox. And it's not going around and it's going out. So they keep on sitting there. Any ideas of how you can get rid of those? Servers are gone. You cannot restore and either or update the certificates in it.
And this is related to servers that have invalid certs. The notifications part I'm missing.
All right.
Is this one we're going to draw on a whiteboard, or?
Well.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that with you. I'm not sure I understand the question exactly.
Oh, okay. If we have the server and during the time of the implementation, the certificate expired and the server was never updated with the new certificate.
An Exchange server.
Exchange server, correct.
Okay.
So you got the notification that you...
Are you the person who was supposed to update the certificates?
This is a good one.
I mean, that guy has to be in the conversation, right?
Well, here's the working scenario for you. We broke something, you fix something, right? So that's how it works.
Certificates expire. I mean.
Well, this is an endeavor environment, so it doesn't matter.
I see. Honestly, I don't know. Let's draw it out together afterwards, and we'll walk through it.
Thanks.
There was a question about whether if you add a certificate and private key, I'm supposing, on one server, whether it can be pushed to other servers. And I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know of any mechanism to do that in a straightforward way. Do you remember any? No, I don't know. Maybe, great.
In 2010 days, I did it manually, so I'm not aware of any mechanism to do that.
Cut and paste.
All right.
Great, thank you.
All right, we'll follow up offline on that. Is there any questions on Doc Lab, Cloudy Docs, modern attachments? Just works. It's so good. You don't have any questions on it?
Is anyone using
better?
it? Is anyone using it yet?
There? Be right there. He's going to ask about e-discovery, isn't he?
Thank you. Yeah, so a question on modern attachments. I've seen the demos, and all the demos you do is internal email between OneDrive for Business users, etc. And I saw the demo yesterday where the folder in OneDrive for Business is created that is called email attachments. What happens when we receive email from external recipients? Can we also choose to shoot it to OneDrive and remove it from that email, even if it isn't an internal sender?
Right, so the scenario of sending from internal to external, there is a conversion that happens there. So are you specifically asking about when someone external sends it inside? Right, so yes, when you send it inside as a classic attachment. As you said, we have the ability to save it up to your OneDrive for Business, and we create a folder called the email attachments that we put it in there.
And then it would be removed from the email.
So no, at this point, it stays in the email. We keep everything consistent and coherent. We don't want to automatically remove something that was there.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have discussed, though, is when you do a save, all of a sudden that classic attachment that's sitting in your email, it has been saved. So wouldn't it be nice if that attachment knew that it had been saved and you could at least reference it back
Just
and
be
forth?
a link, like
Right.
a
Could be a link.
pointer instead.
Right, could be a pointer. So that's excellent suggestion. We are thinking along those lines. We don't have anything immediate there, but we know we want to get more intelligent there too.
So I think as adoption grows, people want to have all their attachment in that folder and not, live in two worlds.
Right. And along those lines, another suggestion that we've heard that we're thinking about is some companies want to make that a blanket statement. Hey, any attachment that you receive, just put it up on OneDrive, and I don't want anything in my mailbox anymore. So again, we're talking about all of those, but nothing to announce.
I'm going to take the opportunity to ask you a question about OVA as well. And I asked you before, I think it was 6 months, about mail to links in OVA. If we could make that work, that would help driving adoption a lot. So is anything happening there? Thank you.
We're not actively coding on it yet, but I was just looking at some planning activity from the team around how we could make that more pervasive in the ecosystem. Nice. So it's something we care about. I don't have a sufficiently credible, like, oh, here's exactly what we're going to do and when plan to say, like, yes, we're doing it, but I totally agree. Makes sense to do. Oh, well, I'm sorry, this is, to clarify, this is not just when there's a mail to link in the body of the message. That already, we're doing the work to make that work. This is, I presume, when you're clicking on a mail to link outside of OA, yes, that's the piece that we still need to figure out a good solution to do that. There's lots of interesting kind of hacky, run an exe on your machine and it'll rewire some reg key kind of stuff, but we want to make it work elegantly.
I got a question here. Change it up a little bit. This back here. For the panel, what's your favorite new feature or theme in 2016? I guess go through each one.
Do we get to vote for ourselves?
Can you start from that side? We'll go here.
I love the way modern attachments works in groups.
And then you can search all of that information.
Clutter, of course.
I love that Outlook search is fast and complete.
There's a command that we added called get mailbox server redundancy. It's awesome.
I particularly like the side-by-side document conversation piece when you're co-authoring and conversing at once. So that was, a little near and dear to our heart.
I like the fact I can like emails in my groups.
I like the fact that Outlook now permissions all your documents on the cloud for you.
You didn't say MRU.
And MRU. Outlook
killer.
displays all the recent documents that you were working on when you go to attach those files.
Actually, I'll add one more thing about clutter.
You only get one.
I calculated how much clutter is saving Microsoft on my mailbox alone, and it's, in terms of the amount of time saved, it's roughly $400 a month. So it's not just appeals to the fact that I like clutter as a feature, but it saves me an enormous amount of time.
Now everyone can reverse engineer your salary.
And find out how low it is.
Hi, right here. So is there any, on Exchange 2016, I didn't hear any improvement on dumpster. The reason I asked...
There are no improvements on dumpster. And based on the
God.
question that, I don't know if it was you who asked yesterday, we got strong feedback that people want to restore items to the specific folders from which they originated.
That was not me.
You were just sitting in the same row yesterday.
Or maybe we look alike.
And actually, was that the question? Was it like that or something else around dumpster?
No, I was just trying to find out. In 2010, I think it's a problem. because you simply move the email, the user deleted permanently to, if the mailbox is on a litigation hold, it goes into the dumpster, and it's just that it creates a lot of funky Outlook issues, like delegate cannot add, accept appointment for that user if.
Are you saying when the dumpster is full, you mean?
Yes, like some of our attorney, they have like, one attorney had 1 million item in just the version folder. So, I mean, the attorneys do send a lot of email and get a lot of emails. So I was just wondering if 2016 we did anything to it.
Yeah, 2013 added a couple of interesting things. Yeah, I don't work with that team, but I can comment on what they've done. They added a couple of interesting things. 2013 added a separate quota, for example, to work around the issue. It doesn't really resolve it as elegantly as I think we'd like. The thing it did is it added a different quota, or it causes deletions related, for example, to calendar items, to ignore that. What ends up happening is calendaring in Exchange is a messy space. And what we did in 2010 was when items are changed in the calendar, we'll keep a kind of a rolling copy of the history of that calendar item. For example, did you guys get all of Ram's Mappy Beers things from yesterday? Yeah. So a gentleman who works on the team, Ram, who works for me, modified a meeting request, and his iPhone sent 200 copies of the updated meeting request to everyone in the Exchange team. And of course, it's like our Friday party, the Mappy Beers party. So there were like 200 Mappy Beers meeting requests from him that he sort of took over mysteriously through his iPhone and broadcast to the whole team. And so we did this work in calendaring to go and keep a backup copy. In 2010, that backup copy ends up counting against that dumpster quota. So when you end up deleting stuff or changing things in the calendar, as you know, and the dumpster is full, then things just go really wrong. Like things go wrong in the Outlook UI, things go wrong with sync, things go wrong in Outlook Web Access. So in 2013, to work around it, if it's one of those calendar items getting saved, we kind of don't count that quota. It counts to a different quota. I don't know what we're doing in 2016 to make that better. It's something that the team that owns the in-place hold and the quotas around that are painfully aware of, because in the service they end up having to respond to hundreds of instances of this, and so they're actively working on something, but I don't have anything to announce related to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And I think we should let the lady in the panel introduce herself.
Oh,
Misbah, please.
Misbah Urazi. I'm a PM on Outlook working on .collab.
Thank you.
This is kind of a vague question. Sorry, it might have been answered in a previous session. But this is new Exchange scenarios. What's the new Exchange scenario beyond 2016 for on-prem releases? I've heard vicious rumors that
no, I got asked this yesterday. No, it's a fair question. You know, yesterday we were like giving awards away for people who had questions that made us squirm the most. This would be one of them. I think, you know, we're just in the process of finalizing what goes in Exchange 2016, and obviously that product stays on the market a long time. But I didn't answer this question as completely as I would have liked. Probably give it too trite an answer. Ultimately, we're trying to get rid of all the reasons or excuses you have to not go to the cloud, whether it's through us or one of our partners or a reseller or a hoster. That said, I certainly fully acknowledge that there's really valid reasons that organizations have for not going there yet. And so one by one, we're going to try to get rid of all of those valid reasons so that you can go to the cloud. Right now, we're still landing 2016, so it's kind of premature to talk about what comes after it. The way that we rolled in 15, we made a decision when we shipped that we would continually update the product. So what you saw, especially in the later CUs, were closer snapshots to what we roll in the service coming to on-prem. And you'll see a continuation of that with Exchange 2016. I'm sorry, I called it Exchange 15. Exchange 2013, we did that. In Exchange 2016, you'll see CUs that include new features for OA, new features for resiliency, redundancy, high availability, and all those things will come to you as we innovate and do work in the cloud. As to when we snap and cut and do another release, we don't have a plan yet for what comes for that, to be perfectly honest. We're still figuring that out. Does that address your question?
Yeah.
Are you in the cloud yet?
Oh, hell no.
All right, well, let's
I was just going to add, we work very hard to balance that kind of push and pull between moving to the cloud and wanting to innovate there and remove the things that block movement towards there. But we do have a very strong sense of accountability to continue to do the right thing and bring value on premise and continue to improve reliability, innovate in that space. It is hard to look forward past the 2016 release. We're very focused on that now, and in trying to bring a lot of the great things that we've done around search, around modern attachments, get those working on-prem. I know Kip's team's neck deep in SharePoint, Office web server, Exchange topology issues, and making sure that's going to work seamlessly on-prem. So we'll continue to put our energy there. But we know what Clutter teaches us and groups teach us. We'll know we'll find ourselves in certain situations where we're able to innovate in the cloud, and the challenges in bringing those on-prem are substantive, or in some cases almost intractable. Well, I should never say intractable, but the ROI gets very tough. But the accountability's there, and we're going to keep trying to bring that innovation there when it's the right thing to do.
Thank you. I think that question deserves a T-shirt.
Brian, it's your job.
All right, I got an Outlook web app question around shared mailboxes right here.
Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Sorry, the light's right there. So yes, thank you.
So will we see improvement around shared mailbox access in Outlook web app in 2016 or future releases of 2013?
What kind of improvements are you looking for?
I don't know if there is any specific work plan to improve beyond what we have for the in the Outlook Web Access scenarios. When we look at, again, we're taking an approach through a lens of scenarios where shared mailboxes are used. And as you hear us talk about O365 groups and how we are taking that as a modern collaboration space, we are looking at some of the scenarios that have been used in shared mailboxes and converting that into the group's usage, because you're seeing your mobile access to your content as an example and how the mobile apps for groups is going to work. So we are not going to invest a ton in the shared mailbox space, but look at the scenarios and modernize the collaboration shared mailbox through groups going forward.
What about it in the scenario where a user has granted someone access to several folders within their mailbox, and they're, let's say, at home or on the road, they don't have their laptop, Outlook web app, want to open that other user's mailbox, get to the inbox, get to those subfolders, and to see all that data?
Yeah, at this point we don't have.
Because today you can only open the inbox.
Yeah.
You can't go past that.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have any plans for that, but we'll keep an eye on that and see if the usage is growing and the need for that is growing there. It may be something that
is still the only route to go.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. There's definitely I've heard a lot more about shared mailboxes than I would have guessed or anticipated coming into the conference. So we definitely have that kind of umbrella takeaway from talking to all of you. So.
Thank you.
And are you on cloud or on-prem?
On-prem.
Okay.
I have a quick question. We're talking about how the kind of mindset is moving towards groups from shared mailboxes. Are there any plans to have a migration tool where you can take a shared mailbox and make it into a group?
Again, the short answer is yes. We are thinking about how we move data and membership for those similar concepts into this collab space. I don't have anything specific for shared mailbox, but to give you a few examples, we talked about how we take DLs, distribution list, and we actually showed some examples of how that's going to be done. We took some examples of public folders and talked about how some of that would be done there. Those were covered as part of the, I think one was covered as part of the public folder session, other was covered by the DL to groups migration session. So you can imagine in the same lines, because the constructs are very similar in those spaces, that we will be looking at how we take those pieces and convert.
And on the groups discussion, is there any plans to have that replicate down to a hybrid organization where they could at least see the address in the GAL?
Oh, yes. Actually, that's so as far as replicating the identity from the Azure AD into the on-prem directory, we are using AAD Connect Azure Active Directory has introduced this AAD Connect tool. It's in preview right now that enables you to sync objects from your cloud into your on-prem, and that helps you resolve those objects in your local directory. So it's in preview right now, so you should go try that, and yeah, it'll be released sometime soon.
Great, thanks.
Two quick question on clutter. It's a great feature, but some of our users panic when they see those automated messages. Is there any option to disable the feature in the Office 365 tenant?
The short answer is no. And the reason for that is because we're actually planning on doing more with those messages to actually make it useful. And the reason we created these messages in the first place is because we wanted things to be client independent. So regardless of the client you use, we want clutter to work, and that was part of the design choice. That said, in order to make it easier for users to recognize that those are official messages, we have branding features, and we're adding to them as well. So you can currently change the display name on those to suit your organization. You can add a logo in, again, to suit your organization. And very soon, it's in deployment, you'll be able to change the reply to address. So the content itself, we're planning on making it so that it'll be a summary of the clutter folder. It'll provide the user with information on messages that they should look at that are in the clutter folder. So we want to make sure to keep that around because that's something that's important for the feature to work for them. But at the same time, we're based on suggestions that you guys have given us, we've changed it so that you can brand those and you can make those more recognizable to the user that they're messages that come from the system. Does that help?
Office 365 and Outbound. How do you stop your SMTP servers from getting blacklisted? We had this issue with the OP where months, multiple, it started one domain and then it went to all of our domains and it was your SMTP servers were blacklisted. It wasn't our fault. But so are you sharing like the SMTP servers between all the users? So if somebody does something wrong, then that one gets blacklisted? Is that how it rolls?
So there are no EOP folks here to answer the question. I can say
365, that's the next thing we test. Is this going to happen to me again?
No, it's a very concern. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So one of the things.
Nice.
Yeah. So obviously the outbound IP addresses from SMTP servers, there's a finite set, and the couple of things that we do. One is there's a large amount of effort dedicated to monitoring outbound mail delivery to make sure that this isn't happening. And for example, the day before yesterday, we were on the phone with folks from Yahoo trying to understand the reason for which they blacklisted some set of IP addresses. And in that case, was a problem on the Yahoo side. We're actually fairly close in terms of community between large services and large ISPs around those things. And it isn't always as straightforward as some other tenant is doing something bad and therefore you pay the price of reputation. Because there's more than just, for example, source IP used to calculate reputation. And I don't have any comments on like how all the different standards around DMARC and things like that are evolving to help other ISPs and us make decisions over who is a bad sender and building reputation around that. There probably were 2 or 3 sessions this week where that was discussed. But it's something that we are aware of and is understood of how painful an issue that is.
It was painful.
Yes, understood.
2 questions on Outlook and OA. Are there any plans to enhance the external automatic reply for like clutter to not send it? And then the second one, is there any plans on the ability to be able to recursively apply permissions within Outlook folders? So if somebody's granted access under a subfolder, like a secretary, they change departments to be able to recursively rip out that access.
Can you repeat the question about clutter? I kind of missed that.
It's in reference to clutter and automatic replies. So if you're on a mailing list and you have set up, because you're out of the office, like everybody externally, I want to say, yeah, I'm out of the office this week. don't bother me till next week, basically. For anything that's considered clutter, don't send that reply.
That's interesting. We've not thought about that, but that's an interesting suggestion.
There was another question about permissions.
Yes, about recursively applying or revoking on shared mailboxes. So there's not currently any work going on in that space, but I understand the need. And
Forgive the ignorance, but you can't do that with commandlets. You can't do get mailbox folder recursive and then do get mailbox folder set mailbox folder permission.
With commandlets, does it
Yeah.
And
well, yeah. So there's no UI coming in that way anywhere in the near future. Just like there never has been any UI coming that way on that stuff. But in terms of you didn't like that answer, but it's true. You're not going to do it. But
if it's not on the top of the list,
for each looping through PowerShell, and recursive traversals. That's probably going to be the path forward, says the store guy.
That's likely, although, I think we're, as the volume of that voice, from our customers increases, that drives our priorities. So, things that we may have left lower on the stack while we're focusing on, the things we're talking about here today or other core performance and reliability pieces, this helps keep those on our radar.
I have a question about e-discovery for Cloudy Docs and CoLab, or CoAuth, sorry. So if I've sent out an attachment and it has certain verbiage in an attachment and it's sent as a Cloudy Doc and somebody's able to modify that later, what's the e-discovery scenario look like?
Right, so for e-discovery and Cloudy Docs, simple answer is it works the same today as if you had just copy and pasted that link in the message body. Right? So it's no different than that. We're well aware of the scenario that you're talking about. There's both what we can do better on the Outlook and OS side, and also what the SharePoint OneDrive team can do better. So those are discussions. We're well aware of it, but as of today, it's as if you had copy and pasted the link in the body.
What it sounded like you were actually hinting at is that you almost want a snapshot of the content, not a live
versioning. Yeah, basically versioning, and then thinking through that, you could even use CoAuth as a way to circumvent IM.
If you don't have a clear enough trail of who did what and when, understood.
Right. So there is the OneDrive SharePoint feature. You can turn on versioning there. So you are just touching that exact file. So if the versioning is turned on there, then it will just piggyback on top of all of that.
So how does that work with CoAuth then? I mean, because that's kind of in real time. It's not keeping versions of everything that somebody types.
Right, so that's a really question for the Office.
Yeah, this is filed under things I should know and do not. So the general principle we've applied with the modern attachment work is kind of what Kip's speaking to, is we want to leverage that. We really want to connect Outlook, use Outlook to help connect our users to that whole Office ecosystem. Everything great that's going on with CoAuth and document storage and retention and compliance in that space. So this is an area where we would, we'll look to innovation in the OneDrive and Office teams, but it's something that I want to make sure we're connecting end to end. And the fact that I don't know what the moral equivalent of versioning and timestamps in the real-time CoAuth spaces is.
So for customers,
foul on me.
I'm sorry.
I'll follow up on that. Yeah.
So for customers who have a very strict e-discovery requirement, is there a way, since it doesn't seem like there's a way to control that, is there a way to...
you're asking the general question, sorry, Jeff, you're asking a general question about how does versioning and CoAuth work together? Because versioning is the answer for taking snapshots of a document that people are editing over time. And it's really a question is how does CoAuth work with versioning? Correct?
Right.
What I can tell you is I know there's an algorithm for co-authoring when it triggers a save. I do not know what the actual algorithm is. We have been talking to those teams about this exact issue, about getting more granular. So it's a known issue. Again, don't have the exact answer, but there is an answer.
And I'll add, I'm sure they're thinking about it. We just don't know the answer, and I wish that I did. So I will make sure we know it in the very near future.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, over here. We've recently seen an issue, so we're O365 for Exchange on-prem link, where individuals delegate their mailbox, and without implicitly putting the delegation in link, so it's synchronizing over. When they remove that delegation, it removes on the Outlook side, but it doesn't remove in the link side, and they have to manually go in and remove that delegation. Is that expected behavior?
Making you answer, man.
No, I don't know. I think
Ahmed used to work on the Link team.
Yes. No, I don't know the answer. It could be a specific issue in terms of how things are configured, but there was a lot of work done to make sure the delegate permissions are synchronized between Outlook and Link scenarios, especially for this calendaring and meeting invite thing. So we'll have to follow up offline to see what's happening in this case.
Will do.
Are there any plans to change the rules quota to have been larger than 256 kilobytes?
These rules go to larger than 256 kilobytes. Oh, we already fancier rules.
Yeah.
So the rule space is evolving. I think, well, Alan showed the sweep functionality that we're bringing back in. So along with that, or as the infrastructure that's powering that, is a much more kind of flexible, robust rules model that sits alongside our much less flexible and robust existing rules model. And so
will that new robust model have support for more than 256K rules?
I really want to say yes. I see no reason why it's no. I can't say with 100% confidence, but I could say with like 98, and that I would be shocked if there was that size limit. So I just haven't had that explicit conversation with the engineering team on that. Damon, do you want to?
And introduce yourself, please.
I'm Damon Gilkerson. I'm the engineering manager for the Exchange store. We changed recently. I think it'll be in 2016. I might be in a CU. I'd have to double check that. But the rules code is not actually a size limit anymore. It's basically a total number of rules.
Do you remember what the limit was?
Not off the top of my head.
Is it more than 1,000?
Come up and ask me afterwards, and I can get the specific answer to that.
He's going to look at the source code.
Yes.
Hi.
Thanks, Dave.
Hi. Question related to auditing. Currently, we are using SCOMP ACS for all our auditing, but Exchange has its own auditing interface. So is there a best practice or recommendation for integrating with ACS, SCOMP ACS?
I don't think we have experts for that part of the product here. We'll have to take it offline.
I don't know, but if you give me your name afterwards, I'll make sure that the
Sure.
folks who work in that area can get you an answer.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, just got a question with the Outlook client. So for junk mail handling, when you do a block, it goes in a junk mail folder. Shouldn't a block not come into the junk mail folder? Like other products I used in the past, when you blocked it, it would never come in your email system.
The question is, should, when you block something in the Outlook or in Outlook client through junk, propagate out to the email system and block it somewhere outside before it gets to the mailbox?
Other solutions, other email systems I did, a block is a block, not a block into the junk mail. I mean, is it in this 2016? Is that the case, or should I be doing something else? Or it's weird because you block it and it goes. Yeah. Then all these emails are still in a junk folder, so they see all this weird stuff. I mean, people still get the bad emails, or then I got to block it on farther up, which is silly. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, yes, I do. I never had that happen. I mean, I wish. That'd be cool. How do you get it to replicate?
We can talk about it afterwards. I'll ask the EOP guys.
Oh, yeah. Where are they at?
Yeah, not here.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's a fair question.
Yeah, I wish it would happen. It would be really cool. Because then I get these weird emails, bad emails into the system.
We get all those too, yes.
Yeah. No, that's great feedback. We'll take it back to the desktop.
Okay,
Outlook
thank you.
team. Yeah.
We only have about 7 minutes left.
Hello. I'm curious how Microsoft does its real-time critical event monitoring of Exchange. For example, let's say a queue goes, way over threshold.
Yeah, I mean, the short answer. Oh, there you are. The short answer is that you're familiar with managed availability. Nope. You're running Exchange 2013 yet?
No, we're 2010. We're running SCOM.
Okay, so what we've done with 2013 and managed availability, we essentially wrapped that at the service as we've gone and deployed and partitioned our system. And the short version is, let's say a queue goes over some critical limit, then the EOP guys who actually aren't here, the transport guys, every team has a rotation where we're on call. And if we haven't built code automation to go and diagnose, troubleshoot, and fix the issue, somebody gets paged. And they go and figure out recover the service is the priority. And then the second priority is figure out why this happened so they never have to get paged again. And so the essential feedback loop is you get called. We used to play the recording of it. It's awesome. It's our vice president who calls. And the poor guy has been calling people so much that when in reality he's calling people, this is automated recording. He says, hello, this is Rajesh Jha calling from the Exchange Online service. You get that call at 3, 4 in the morning enough times. When he actually calls you in real life, you just hang up on him. Yeah, that's actually not true. What you usually do is you have to press 1, and then it says, unlock your console, press 1. And so people just press that. And that's the running joke, is that whenever he calls anybody, and he does call us, we just start pressing 1. And he's got a great sense of humor about it. But yeah, ultimately, we as the engineers are 100% accountable for the issues that go wrong. So every one of us here, are you in a rotation? No. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. But every one of us is on a rotation where if things go wrong, we get paged. And if the person who gets paged doesn't answer, then it ends up bubbling up to either their managers or what's called an incident manager who says, what do we do to restore service as quickly as possible? And so along with that line, we become super motivated. And I talked about it on Tuesday. We're super motivated to make sure that the core product, and not just some like Band-Aids and scaffolding that we build around the core product, but the core product itself finds issues like the ones that the gentleman here mentioned, where mail is getting NDR for the wrong reason, queues are getting built up, servers are failing, users aren't able to connect. And so beyond just the managed availability, we do a whole bunch of monitoring of client activity. We treat that as a signal in our system, and we say, hey, we see a certain % of client that are passing a large number of errors. There was a talk this week, you should see the recording. I think it's called Exchange Online or Office 365 Behind the Curtain. Vivek, who spoke, is a fairly dynamic speaker. He went into detail on how we do that stuff. But in the end, yeah, the buck kind of stops with us, and we've tried to build feedback loops into every part of availability and client performance of the system to make sure that we know as close to real time as possible how well or poorly things are going. And if things go poorly, it's like we give ourselves a little hit on the head to say, guys, this is broken, go fix it. And we count ourselves, we count our performance internally based on how well the service does.
And by hit on the head, he means, so I used to work in the high availability team. When we started out, we were getting 200 plus pages a week. That's a real hit on the head when you get woken up at various points during the week 200 times. It is now
we have 2.
2.
And we have 10,000 times the number of servers. Something like that?
Yeah, something like that. So there's definitely a good feedback loop to incentivize us to make it much, much better.
But it can always be better. Thank you.
And an outlook question. I'll preface this by saying we're still on 2010. And this is actually relating to the IMCEAX NDR and cached contacts. At least in 2010, it appears to use the DN. So if you do something to the mailbox, then everybody else who's ever cached them as a contact, NDRs. You can fix it with the next 500, but it'd be nice if it just cached the SMTP address.
So just wait. Clap for him in just 1 second. I want to make sure that we got the request.
Okay.
So you're saying when you see an NDR for an IMC, we call that an exchange encapsulated address that has a leg DN. We're saying that when you change someone's email address.
No. Okay. These are cases where we actually have to change the exchange object. In
Okay.
our particular case, we've got folks that go between external mail systems transfers.
Okay.
And they'll become a mail. They maybe have a mailbox.
So you're talking about when you move users, for example, transform their mail objects, that sort of thing.
Yes. Anything like that. And then everybody who's ever sent to them now gets the.
That's right. There's a replyability problem. Yes. And so the solution we gave, which existed in Exchange from the beginning of time, which is add the X500 address, you're asking for that to be automatic?
Well, no. Could we just cache the SMTP address instead of the DN?
So that's actually a great question for the Outlook team. So Outlook right now in several different places, when it's trying to resolve an object back to the Active Directory, what it maintains is, well, first Outlook connects to the AD through MAPI. And the primary way it addresses an object in MAPI, the ID of it, which is a MAPI entry ID. This is going to get nerdy really fast. The MAPI entry ID, ultimately under the covers, will have an address type, which is going to be an Exchange address type. It's going to have a display name, and it'll have this binary encoded value of however to address that resource. By default, since the beginning of MAPI, that's been a legacy Exchange DN. But before those, it was called a legacy Exchange DN. It was just a DN. And so that's what is pervasively stored throughout Outlook. However, and so things like a nickname cache or a contact or whatever that's pointing to an object that was in the AD, that is almost always the only thing that is stored. However, in Exchange 2010 and starting in 2007, we started adding a property that includes the SMTP address in some of those places, in some of those entry IDs, but it isn't consistently done. So it's fair feedback to say that we should prefer that if it's available on that object, and in the cases where it's not available, to also store that and then prefer that if it's present. Is that?
That's essentially yes. Yes.
Okay. I think I have the ask.
Okay.
Now definitely clap for this guy. Thank you.
We have time for one last question.
Please let it not be about EOP.
Exchange 2013, Outlook 2010 or 2013, doesn't matter. Searches only return 250 items.
Yes.
Yes.
So what can we do about changing that parameter?
Yeah, so in Exchange 2016, we've changed the search architecture so that we can actually support a much larger result set. And so some of that will come in the initial release, and some of it will come in future updates. In previous versions of Outlook and previous versions of Exchange, we have had asks to bump that cap. There's some, without misleading, there's current discussions going on right now about how we could do that. We don't have a committed plan, but it's actually an active discussion right now. If that were to happen, then that would be backported into a CU or something like that for 2013.
Thank you. Are we done?
Yeah, I think we're.
Okay, hey, thank you so much for your
everyone.
questions.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot. Afterwards, really appreciate the time. Thank you.